Guten Morgen, Rabbi Sai. Liebe Spaß bei Mame, Rusbus und Mordechai. Rabbi Sai, die kommende Woche.
You want to spill it?
Ja, ich will das.
Ich
will das. Ich zerbreche es in der Szene. Das ist Szene. Die kommende Woche. Vergiss nicht, morgen der mehrere dicke Sium. Okay, shkoyach. Ruined it for me. This coming week, as you can see right over here, maybe 239.11. Shkoyach, Gary. Mordik. So yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay, fine. It's the Zoom's problem. It's not this. It's a different thing. Okay, the Zoom. Rabbi said yesterday I had a very big schos of being a sandik by Reb David Cantor's bris. So Mazel Tov to Reb David Shkoyach. The brachas were yesterday. Oh, here goes. We have something? No, not yet. Okay. I also want to show you. Oh. Yeah? I mean, we hear the speakers. Is that part of it? Okay. We'll go weiter. Rabbi say, this is unbelievable. This Wednesday, here we go. Zoom again. You see what's going on? The Russians are hacking. Tommy, you want to go up there maybe and help him out? Please. He needs help. I know he doesn't want help, but he needs help. It's Rabbi Sai. This is the hall. Motzei Shabbos Parshas Zachor, March 12th, right here. We're making a siyum on Seder Mayed and Chagigah. Why don't you join us? We have over 100 people flying in from other countries, and we have 500 people signed up. This hall can hold 900 people. Please join us. Motzei Shabbos, Parshas Zachor. Sign up today. We'll see you there. Shkoyach Gary. Wow, beautiful job. Amazing. Rabbi Isai, so we're going to be starting Yevamis, and people are asking, wow, what's going to be in Yevamis? I'm going to tell you here. Every day I'm going to show you one character. This lady, I'm not going to tell you whose wife she is. It's a guy that sits next to me every single day and cheers, wife. This is a lady from Bat Ayin. Shkoyach. And we'll, as the days come closer to Yevamis, we'll introduce more and more. Yesterday, they showed this behind the Bima interview that I had for Ephraim Goldberg. And believe it or not, Rabbi Brody, he actually signed up. I convinced him through the interview to sign up, and he signed up. So welcome to the Shir. What else do we have here? We have, good afternoon, Rabbi Stefansky going up the mountain, still doing the daf. Aaron Krenz, bringing the art scroll on the lift. That's a tough one. This is an interesting one. Here's a guy, it looks like, I'm pretty sure he's operating some heavy equipment, like a tractor or some sort. Viggy Weiss convinced me to try out MDY. I'm one of the many who can't always have a Gemara in front of me. You'll understand why when you see the picture. Thank you very much. I'm really enjoying the shir and hope to make it see him soon. The pictures are one of my favorite spots to learn Torah. Right here in the big rig. Shkoyach.
Because most Gemara shears, they don't recommend that you operate heavy machinery during the shear. But would you?
What again? Oh, okay. It's one of those. Okay. Ari Weg, the parrot, learning the daf. It's unbelievable. We have dogs, we have parrots, we have human beings even. It's unbelievable.
My wife and I took a short 15-year wedding anniversary trip last week. Baruch Hashem, Rav Eli was very much with us on the trip, and my wife was proud of it. Here's a compilation of me doing the daf in Palm Springs, Joshua Tree National Park, and Malibu. Fact is, I used to see the daf as a chore, probably why I wouldn't start a Masech with the Olam and never finish. Now I look forward to it. Thank you for the chizuk. All the best, Josh and Lani. I don't know where Lani is, but I see Josh in the pictures. So Yishkoyach, happy anniversary. You're whatever. It's the Daf police, Mike Flisser, policing the Daf, doing the Daf. All right. So you heard that. Almost 500 people signed up already. And I just want to tell the Olam, some of the guys say, well, I don't have to sign up yet. I'll sign up Motzei Shabbos. Well, in order to get in, you need a name tag. And if you want to pay double at the door, Seder, then there might be a line because you have to get into the computer and you have to get a name tag at the door. It is very much in our benefit that we know who's coming and how many people are coming so we could order enough food. Very, very expensive meal. And every person that doesn't sign up beforehand, it's basically a damage to us, but we'll accept anybody at the door as well. I'm just highly recommending that and pleading that you do so in advance. It's, first of all, you'll save money, you'll save time, you'll save us a tremendous tircha. So please sign up. Again, it's only for people that do the daf and children that do the daf. Do not bring your children if they don't do the daf. We already have 500 people and we want everybody to come. Was nach? Okay, and I wanted to say a gracious shkoyach to Jonathan Stefansky, who every year on Rosh Chodesh Adar gives us a little bit of a taste of MS, and it was so MS. I heard my wife laughing all the way to where I learned, which is the other side of the house. I went to see what is going on. I've never seen her laugh so hard. She was laughing more than Mendy Auerbach was laughing yesterday in Shir. And I don't know if this is normal. Our wives, they really enjoy when people shtach their husbands like that. Is that normal? But you don't understand the hana she had. L'chvoid harav hagoyin Reb Eli. True. Oh, she was like, "What, you do that?" Okay. Anyways, so Gracie Shkoyach did a great job. The Parnas HaChodesh for the Koilel is Mr. Anonymous Lili Nishmas Chaya Bas Yosef. Masechtes Chagigah is dedicated by the Kesson and Davis families Refuah Shleima for Miriam Estabas Dvar B'Karov. I don't know what time it is. Parnas HaChodesh is Chus for Refuah Shleima Ben Livsha. What time is it? Wow. Shkoyach. No buzzers. Everything's off. As a schus for Refuah Shlomo ben Livsha and Rivka Bas Gila, it should be zoich the Zerif Shekayama B'Karov. Parnas HaChodesh, Shuli Rosenfeld, in memory of my dear friend Yehuda Augenbaum. Somebody go up there, help him out. What? Which video? You have a video? Okay, show that video. Great, because we have plenty of time today. Go, show it. I think
3, 4, 5.
This is Chevron Lakewood, working out.
7, a little training with the daf. 8, come on, up and down. 9, come on. 10, come on. 5.
Parnas HaChodesh by the Lack and Lebovich families, Lakewood, here we go, Lakewood! As a schus for our families, by Jonathan Davidov, in memory of Bechor Davidov ben Penir, may the Shama have an Aliyah, by David Steinloff, in memory of my mother's yahrzeit, which is on the 2nd of Adar, so Rochel Bat, Yisrael Avram, may the Shama have an Aliyah, and Yosef Biliak's very, very close friend, Shlomo ben Yosef HaKohen, who was nifter yesterday, Moshe Weiss, Lili Nishmas Shlomo Yehuda ben Moshe Shmuel, by Gary Gartenberg, Lili Nishmas Pinchas Menachem ben Rev Tzvi Harris of Scranton, Pennsylvania, yahrzeit, and Ezi Zwingenhaf, Lili Nishmas HaBocher, Chaim Nachman, Zuchron Levrach ben Reb Yankiv Yitzchak HaKoye and Ner Yor, whose yahrzeit is tomorrow, and finally by Nisim Akilov, Lili Nishmat, my grandfather Eliezer ben Sarah Shimonov. Thank you, Rav Eli. Oh, you know what? I have to read this. We have plenty of time. Everything we're going to make up on Motzei Shabbos. Since we're behind, Hoyel V'itche Itche This is a text from I got from Uncle Phil this morning. The Mika Amcha MDY family of connections, friends, have a nephew in the hospital. He has a nephew in the hospital in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Family needed a place for Shabbos. So I reached out to Alan Listhouse and Jeff Rosenberg, guys from Pennsylvania, to give it a shot. Can't make this up. Jeff said he's providing the family with meals already. And on top of helping in any way he can. Dr. Allen called me back and said he's happy to drive an hour and a half to bring family what they need. Only family we have does this, and MDY is family. Yishkoyach, Uncle Phil. So we're holding smack in middle of a sugya. Daf of Beishamai. We finished this. We're middle of this amazing halacha of Beishamai, where we thought that Beishamai doesn't make any sense. We couldn't figure it out. Turns out that Beishamai is correct, and they still agreed to Beishamai. What happened was there was a mace on the first floor, and the Tumah wants to travel through the hole in the ceiling and be metama everything here. So the Amoret, he placed an earthenware kli in the hole. Now, the Talmud proves to Rabbi Yeshua that since the Amoret touched the kli, l'chayra, it's tameh. And if it's tameh, it shouldn't provide any protection. A kli that's tameh doesn't provide protection. However, the Amaritz is going to put up a fight, a big fight, and he's going to say, you can't make my kalim tameh just because I touched them. That's not fair. And he's not going to listen to you. But if you tell him that there's something to do about it, go to the mikvah, you can be toivel, he'll listen. So therefore, we instituted and we said that the 3 blue arrows, the glass jug, the dish that the woman is making the dough in, the woman herself, they're all tameh. Because that he can fix, he'll put all that into the mikvah. But the dough, you can't take food and put in the mikvah. It never becomes tar. You can't take the jug and put it in the mikvah, and therefore, they are atar. Now, says the Gemara. We saw Rabbi Yeshua, he really felt bad that he said not nice lashon on Shammai. He fasted for the rest of his life. Says the Gemara, Ktani Mias. Does anybody have it? Now somebody gave me an eitzah. It doesn't work. I have to explain to the tzaddik why it doesn't work for me. He says, why don't you tell us next to, like, what's the first word in the line? I said, it helps him a lot. Now that's true if I had a Gemara like everybody else. But I have a different type of Gemara. I use this Gemara, the Oiz V'Hadar, and it has Nekudas in it. And therefore, the words are off. So I can't give you the word. I can only guess approximately how many lines from the top. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 lines from the top. Why do I use it? Because I don't know how to read. That's why. I grew up in America. Sebrach the Chena. Huh? Giving of the word. No. I can read. I love Nekudas. It's just, I'm used to it from the Siddur in the morning. I'm sorry, I'm one of those guys that has Nekudas in my Siddur and whatever. That's why I also have my Gemara. Fine. Says the Gemara. Ktani Mias l'chav. If you look on the top line, almost the top line, Beishamai say that, and this, we're going on a tangent, we're finally getting there, and I mentioned it yesterday. It says that the chaver, the person who's makbid on Tumah, he's going to borrow a kli from the Amaretz. It says the chavaloi. He's going to borrow it from the guy. So you see that a Talmud Chacham, a chaver, borrows kelim from an Amaretz. So what's the problem? So now we have to go back to where we were yesterday. We said that if a person is toivel, a kli within a kli, and he's only makbid on truma, it's not a problem. Why? Because a chaver never eats food from an amaretz. He'll eat kachim, and that's a problem. So a kli b'tar kli, what's going to happen? Worst comes to worst, the chaver will be toivel at one kli and another kli, and what's going to happen? The amaretz is going to imitate him. So nothing will happen. Says the Gemara, but something will happen. He'll borrow that kli from the amaretz. The chaver is going to think that it's tar. He sends his kid to the next door neighbor amaretz. I want a frying pan. He gives him a frying pan. But the frying pan is tameh because he toivel it one in the other and it's not a good tefillah. Says the Gemara, the obvious answer after all that, simplest answer in the world. Yeah, when you send your kid to the next door neighbor to borrow a klif and amaritz, it always goes to the kelim mikvah every single time. So there's no issue. Ask the Gemara, Yachi, Nahadru Beis Hillel Beishamai, Kishalina Minayu, Matbilin lo. Beishamai tells Beis Hillel, you can't do this. If you do it, how's the second line on top? The chaver is going to borrow a kli from the amaretz. So Beis Hillel says, yeah, he's going to borrow the kli, and it's not a problem. He's going to put it in the mikvah. Why Beis Hillel didn't even answer anything? It was like a good taina. Ooh, it's very dangerous. The chaver might come to borrow a kli from the amaretz, and every single time he borrows, he has to go to the mikvah anyway. Says the Gemara, well, you didn't think about this one. There's a tumah, a very high tumah, if it touches a dead person. And let's say the Amaretz goes to Levaya, he's not so careful, tefillah, not tefillah, he touches his kli. Now, that requires a 7-day process. After 3 days, you sprinkle it with paraduma water. After 7 days again, and then you put it in the mikvah. So, nobody borrows a frying pan for 7 days. That's the problem. That's why he said, well, if you allow Amaretz to be toivel a kli within a kli, the chaver might come to borrow it. The chaver is going to put it in the mikvah. No, he won't put it in the mikvah. He'll put it in the mikvah for a simple tumah, for sheretz tumah, but he won't put it in the mikvah for a mace tumah because that takes too long. He has to make his egg today, not in 7 days. And besides, the guy's not going to lend it in for 7 days. Says the Gemara, we can't trust Amaretz for bitoveling. We do trust them that they went to the mikvah for dead people, for levayas. When do we trust Amaretz for his own body? But we don't trust him for keilah. When it comes to his dishes, he's relaxed. Rav Amar, right? So we see through Shas, Amaratzim, they're makbid on some things, they're not makbid on all things. We see it today also. Relax, sometimes. Amaratzim, on deraises, on truma, they're makbid. On meiser, some things they are, the easy things they do, pick and choose. Fine. Rav Amar, no, let me tell you a better teretz, he says. Let's, instead of differentiating between his body and kelim, let's say we're talking about kelim. But there's no contradiction. Now, we are not choishesh ever that Amaretz is going to lie to us. Yes, he's Amaretz. He's not a liar. So if he tells you, I never went to the mikveh and put one kli inside another kli, so we can trust him. I'm telling you, like we see this day in, day out. You know people in your life like this. Amaratzim, that Shver Hanoid, 2 fingers. That's 1.5 fingers. You think the rabbis care? It's exactly 5 centimeters. What did you tell me, Tomer, the other day? The makbid in the mikvah, 5 centimeters going into the filtration system has to be 5 centimeters. Okay, so the guy says, this is chumrus. The rabbi's chumrus. So 4 centimeters is okay. 4 centimeters is not okay, maybe. I'm just saying, 3 centimeters is not okay. So we're not going to trust him on measurements. We're going to trust him that he says, I never put a kli inside another kli when I went to the mikvah. Everything was good. But Tanya, and I'll prove it to you. What is mukhshel kabatum again? So I had a lot of nachas. I'll tell you why. My son Yoel is up there. He doesn't even have a Gemara. He's listening. So I asked him yesterday, the other day I asked him, what happens when a Rishon touches a sheni fruit? It touches a fruit, I asked him. A Rishon touches a fruit. So I was expecting him to say, it becomes a sheni. He tells me, well, it depends if water went on it or not. It's like, wow, that was good. That's called mukhshur lekabel tumah. When water goes, so these kids, you see them sitting here, they're absorbing, right? You knew that halacha also? Mukhshur lekabel tumah. So the fruit becomes wet, becomes mukhshur lekabel tumah, and then of course he knew right away. Of course, it becomes a sheni, a shlishi, the whole thing. Neman Amaris, I'm not going to show the chart. The second we'll show it in a minute. Neman Amaris loymar peres loyhuchshru. Aval einoy neman loymar peres huchshru avaloy nitmu. He can tell you a fact. Liquids never touch these things, these fruit. Again, it has to be liquid that touches when I want it to touch. Avaloy nitmu. He can't say, it became mukshal l'kavatuma. They were wet from one of the 7 liquids, blood, milk, honey, whatever. But there was no. So we trust him for the main thing, not a sheker. But to go into the halachas, you know what tameh is. You know who's tameh. You yourself are tameh on Maritz. How do you know they become tameh? We hold you as a tameh. We don't trust. Fine. But you're telling me on his own body he's believed. If a Talmud Chacham, a Chaver, let's call him not a Talmud Chacham, somebody that's makbid on Tumas and Tayers, he comes to wherever the station it is, where they sprinkle people with paraduma water. When he shows up, they sprinkle him. We don't trust Amaretz. What's he saying? He's saying, I became Tameh 3 days ago, please sprinkle me. I don't trust you. Today, let's start from now. Nebach, he goes back home, all depressed, they're treating me like I'm a Ritz, and he comes back. Elo Marbayo. So, you see that we don't trust him. You're telling me we trust him. We don't trust him. Elo Marbayo. He says, we don't trust him in the beginning, but at the end, when it comes to say, hey, I am Tar, then we trust him, because he went through so much, he suffered, he had to come back, and this and that, and he had to wait around wherever that station is for 7 days. So Mamela, at the end, we do trust him that he's Toivel and he's Tar. Now we're going to new Sugi Rabbi side. We learned that the second Chumrah that Kodesh has over Truma, Kodesh means, let's say I bring wine to the Beis HaMikdash as a carbon, it goes together, it's the libation in English. They pour it on the Mizbeach. It's Kodesh. That is much more susceptible to Tumah than anything else. And it's more susceptible than Truma. If I give a bottle of wine, I have 100 bottles of wine, and I give 2 of them to the Kohen. That's his, that's Truma. Or I gave him grapes, whatever, and he made it into wine. It's Truma. It's not as sensitive as when I bring the wine to the Beis HaMikdash as a carbon. One of the things that's not as sensitive as Acharayim etoich. Second thing on the list. That is my Acharayim etoich. K'lisnan. Klishanit ma'achayrav b'mashkin achayrav tmeyin. So let's go back to this. Every time I see this, I think about my good friend Akiva Salkowitz. Okay. And this you have to see, well, we can explain. If liquid touches this, tummy liquid, I'll show you this chart over here. A second, I hope it doesn't fall. Tum entire chart. Here we go. If you want to understand, all of a sudden in the middle of the chart, there's a yellow arrow that goes like this. Why? What's going on here? Because liquid has the power of going from a shlishi, going backwards and becoming a rishon. That's the Rabbanan thing, obviously. So it becomes a rishon. So if I put liquid that's tummy over here on the top of my kli, over here, then the kli should become tummy, but it doesn't. Only the outside. And this is again to show that it's the Rabbanan halacha. Only the outside becomes tummy. Unbelievable. Typically, if a person that's tmei mace touches this kli, the whole thing becomes tummy. Sheretz becomes tummy. The whole thing. No, just the outside. Okay. The inside. Agnoi. What's agnoi? So this had a search. My entire house. Again, one kli like this. To protect this thing. Gift from the Shver. This is a honey dish, if you want to know what it is. It's not even a real agnoi, but it's the best I could come up with. The kli rounds itself out on the top. So if I flip it over like this becomes sort of a kli. This part right over here. So this part, all that, just for this pshat. This agnoi, oznoi, this is an ear. You see it looks like an ear? Perfect. V'yadav. Yadav means a handle, like on a frying pan. You have a handle, says Rashi. Frying pan he brings. Toirim. We view this kli as different compartments. You have the inside, this part. Did I say inside it? Inside, the ear, the outside. Each part is a different part. Nitma toichai. But if the tumah went inside this way, not a chayrav over here, but inside, then the entire thing is tamei. Yeah, these are tumas d'Rabbanan. This whole thing is a tumah d'Rabbanan. So this applies to truma that is not tamei. But kachim, we're saying, if there's wine in here, whatever, I use this as kachim. This, if I touch the ear, the entire kli becomes tamei. Why again? Because there's a da'iraisa concept that if I touch over here, the whole kli becomes tamei. So also in the Rabbanan liquid that's sprinkled on this, it'll become tamei, the entire thing. Yeah. Weiter, ubeisat tzvita, my beisat tzvita, Amar Rabbi Dama Shmuel, Mokum Shitzoivtai. So, going back to this picture, we showed it already before, we'll show it again. The place where you lift up a kli, it's another compartment. V'cheinu oimer, vayitzbad lakali, Rabbi Asi Omar, Rabbi Yochanan, Mokum Shinikia Das Tzoivim. People that are istanisim, when they eat, let's say they have pastrami, and they put their mustard right over here, or if they have a cup, some people will just pour the mustard out and then pour water in there and drink geshmak, like a mustardy water. These are nekiyah das. They're makbid, not to mix the mustard with the chocolate milk. It's they're very mefunakim. Okay. What? Tani Rav Bivi Kamei Rav Nachman Kol HaKelim Eilem Achurayim Etoich. There's no nafkemina. There's no difference in all vessels between. I did? Where? I said. Go back to the videotape. Tani Rav Bibi Kamei Rav Nachman Kol HaKelim Ein Lem Achurayim V'Toich. There is no difference between. You mean I didn't explain it? Maybe that's what you mean. Yeah, I read it. There's no difference between this part or this part. If the tumah goes over here, everything becomes tamei. It doesn't matter if it's kodesh kachim, like for kabbanis, or gvul. What does that mean? It must mean truma. How could it mean truma? We just said a second ago there's a difference between truma and kachim. This exact thing. By truma, we make a difference between the ears and the different parts. In kachim, we don't make it. And now you're telling me that even truma, we don't make a difference. But nan, there's a difference. Says Gemara, I don't think I brought the picture again, but the guy with the tree, basically he takes a banana off a tree and he thinks in his mind that this banana is kachim. So if that's what it means, gvul. If a person did that, then there's no difference. If he says, I'm treating this as kachim, in my mind, I'm treating this as kachim, then there's no difference between this part and the ears. But truma, there is a difference. Great. Says Gemara, at Karta Milsa, you just reminded me something. By the way, if you're thinking to yourself, what's going on here with the kachim? So everybody, if you think about it, it's so pashut. We're coming up to Yavamas. So we tighten it up a little bit, we make it difficult, and by Yavamas it's going to be a breeze. Says Gemara, we have the list of 11 things. I wish I made it nicer to begin with. The first 6 are no difference whether a person is actually bringing kachim, a carbon, or he thought in his mind that it's kachim. And the last 5, it's only the real deal. So Mamela, Acharayim v'tzvita is right over here. This is included in the category of, even when you think about it in your own mind, it fits right in to what we just discussed. Hanoises hamedris, noises hatruma, avalois hakodesh, brand new sugya. We can actually think about it as a brand new masechta. If you carry a shoe that is zav stepped on, so it's a medris, it has strong tumah, In my other hand, I could carry truma. It's not a problem. But in my other hand, I cannot carry a carbon. I can't carry hegdish. Avloisa kodesh. Kodesh matam eloi. Mishum ma'isa shahaya, says the Gemara. There's a story, an amazing story. Very, very exciting story. Get ready. Domer Rav Yehuda ben Shmuel ma'isa be'echad shoyu mavir choves shel yayin mimokim l'mokim. There's a guy, shoyu mavir choves shel yayin kodesh mimokim l'mokim. Here's the guy. He's carrying a barrel. It says kachim over here, castel on top, and Rabbi Isai, unlike some guy who was making fun, that I put in some lines over here like this. So I want to show you, this is what I had in the beginning. Then I realized it's a mistake. So I went to this. The difference between this one and this one was a half hour, because I'm not proficient in Photoshop. So I had to take wine, and you could see it's wavy, it's moving, and I had to put it in the opening over here. It's not 100%. It's better than this, because this is closed barrel. And I had to move the castel from over here. It's not a line. Don't listen to that guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. A line. He does a line. Half hour, 1 in the morning. A line. 2:30 in the morning. Anyway, so what happened was, this guy was carrying a barrel of Kodesh wine. And all of a sudden, unbelievable, Maisa, V'nifsika Ritzur Shel Sandaloi. And if you look over here, sponsored. Ahmed Alv is sponsored by Jonathan Stefansky, Lila Nishmas, Chava Bas Yosef, the very first sponsor. And he told me yesterday, $2,600 for every daf that was sponsored Lila Nishmasa. This strap, even though he's wearing brown shoes, this black strap fell off his shoe. So what did he do? He tried to put it on the side of the barrel, and it slipped into the barrel. Now, if you remember, an amazing halacha, mamash, it's serious, amazing. If this was earthenware, pretend it's earthenware, and you touch a dead mouse to the earthenware, or you went to Lavai, you touch it, nothing happens. The only way this kli becomes tameh is in the ear space. You don't touch it. You don't have to touch it. A mouse goes into the ear space of the kli, poof, becomes tameh. You don't have to touch. Where in the world, you contact the virus of tumah through ear space. So that's what happened over here. If you look what his name is. It says his name right over here. He has a name tag, Zav. This guy is a Zav. So therefore, his foot is a medras, his shoe is a medras. So this piece is a medras. He put it over here in the barrel, poof, it went into the barrel. What happened to all the wine? The wine became tamei mitoichai. So because of this maisa, they made a gzeira, and they said that only in kachim, you can't lift your strap of a shoe. They made a gzeira. If you're carrying a strap of a zav shoe, noises at truma, he could carry truma of a lois hakodesh. Now, I want everybody to understand there. It's unbelievable. 2,000 years ago, there's a man walking down a path. He looks something like this. Maybe he's a little skinnier. Maybe he had a beard. And he's carrying this heavy barrel. And his shoe strap broke, and he put it in the thing. And what happened? For 2,000 years, millions of people are learning a sugya, an gzeira, that's based on his story. His one small action, he had no idea. He's going to be in the Gemara forever and ever. What's my point? So Rabbi Isai, of course, it has everything to do with the daf. Imagine if you convince one person to join the daf Yivamis. One person. V'doirei doiris. This guy, his children saw and they're singing, it's Geshmak to do the daf, and they have Geshmak in learning since they're 3 years old. And this whole life changed because of that one little action that you took. What one action means? One ritzua that fell off changes the world. One person coming to the daf is going to change the world. But I don't understand. What's the difference if this barrel, it says on it kachim or it says on it truma? You shouldn't be able to carry the strap. Says Gemara, amazing thing. In a different story. You have to be exact. You can make a gzeira, says Rav Chananya, but it has to be exactly the story that happened with all the pratim. That's how we're going to be geyser. Unbelievable. What happened? Think about it. In those days, Be'ez Hashem, very, very soon, Mashiach comes, we are going to be makbid on Tum and Tahara. Every time you go to a funeral, you have to go to the special place, and they're going to sprinkle you with this mechatas. Where do you get the mechatas from? Well, there was unlimited amount of mechatas. When they burnt the para aduma, which, today, millions of dollars for one para, it comes every, who knows how often, you're allowed to add as much wood as you want. They would add hundreds of tons of wood to one little tiny fire. And all the wood would burn, and that all became the ashes that they eventually added to the para aduma. So, I need my para aduma water in Chicago, in New York. So I have to transport it. There's going to be a station in Monsey, in Borough Park, in Flatbush, all the Tmeim, all around the world. Well, eventually everybody's going to come there to Israel, but you need in Bet Shemesh, you need here, you need everywhere. You're the courier of this chatas. You're not allowed to bring it over the Jordan River and in a boat. You can't throw it from one side of the river to the other. Don't even put it in a flotation device and try to be smart about it, because you're not going to use the boat, but you'll put it in your flotation device. Don't even try that. You're not allowed to drive in a car. You can't go on an animal. You have to walk it from here all the way to Monsey. As I state in the Gemara. And you can't be on somebody's shoulder. Don't even take it. You're going to walk from Beis Hamikdash, from Har HaBayis, not Har HaBayis, from Har HaZeisim, where they burn it, or whatever all the way to Chutz La'aretz. Walking, no camels, no donkeys, no Teslas, nothing. You have to constantly walk on the ground. Guess what? I'll give you a break. If you want to build a bridge over the Atlantic Ocean, I'll allow you to do it. It's not considered that you're going over water. You're actually stepping on firm ground. Why? It doesn't matter. The Jordan, others. So luckily comes Yochanan Mekavi. He says, no, it's only one river of the world, the Jordan. It's only in a boat, and it's only exactly the way it was, but I could throw it over the river, I could float it across the river, but not in a boat. Because it has to be exactly the way the story, the terrible tragedy that happened over there. There was a person that was transporting the mechatas. You're not going to believe this. He's on a boat. They take a look. They see a guy's hand, a dead man's hand, in the boat. And what's that called? Oil. Somebody must have gone with the offer of the paraduma right over the... So I'm thinking to myself, how's it possible there's a hand in a boat? It's crazy. What, they murdered somebody? And I thought, seriously. I was on a boat with my wife. I was going shark diving in the Bahamas. You can look it up. Stewart Cove. Yeah. It's going shark diving. So this Meshugana, shark diving means you go scuba diving, and the guy goes, he takes a big basket of dead fish, and blood comes out of it, and you go in the water, and he brings it down, and he wears these metal gloves, and the sharks come to eat these dead fish, and they swarm around you. And as the boat comes, you start seeing the fins of the sharks start coming around, and then he gives a drasha. I'm not joking. Do not touch the sharks. Whatever you do, don't touch the sharks. He said, last week, I promise you, one of the guys pet the shark bit his hand off. In front of my wife, the Meshuggah, in front of my wife. And she says, Eli, you're not doing it. You can't do it. I was the first guy off the boat. It was Givaldik. Jumped in before the guy came in. So he said, don't worry about it. They're not going to eat you. They're waiting for the fish. They like fish. They don't like humans. And I had a camera and everything. And one of the sharks actually knocked my camera out of my hand. I have it on video. It's Givaldik. This close to taking my hand off and leaving it on the boat. Here, that's how a thing gets to the boat. I can't get you the recording. It's in America. It's on VHS. I didn't have the picture even. I don't even have a picture of it. But this is me. If you haven't seen this is a Maury Eel and Eli Stefansky. They said, don't go close to it, so I went close to it. There's another time. Okay, fine. Next. By the way, if anybody ever goes to the Everglades in Florida, do not stop at that tourist trap where they say they'll show you an alligator, because we paid 60, whatever it is, a person, and they take you on this hover thing. A what? The airboat. And we saw one alligator. This guy there tells me, what are you, we're nuts. We came to the wrong place. He said, go down the block, you'll see. We went down, go further, and there's a park for alligators. I'm talking about hundreds of alligators just walking around. And big signs, do not feed. So I have a picture. I walked over to the first alligator, I grabbed him by the tail, and he turns around and goes, and my wife and my daughter, they ran, they went into the car, but I had another, it's gewaldig. Okay, anyway, don't touch the more eels, don't touch the alligators, don't touch the sharks. Do not learn from this guy. That we have a picture of also. Oh, we still have a whole daf to do, I forgot. Ibailu. They found a hand of a person on a boat. This is how, because they went scuba diving with sharks. So what does that have to do with us? So Mela by us also. What happened? This story happened a very, very particular way. It happened with Kachim. And in Mela, we only made a Gzeira on Kachim and not on Truma. Ibailu. Sandal Tomei, Sandal Tormao. It says that he was wearing a Tomei shoe. Look, his name is Zav, so his shoe is Tomei. But what if he's not Tomei? What if the sandal is Tar? Chav is Psucha. Look, that's where I realized I made a mistake in the picture when I got to here. The barrel is open. What if it's not open? It's completely sealed and there's no problem of Tumah at all. What if he decided to lift it up and carry the Truma together with? Is this Gary? Who's calling me now? Says Gemara, so you think it's just like there? Don't do it. But if you did it, I'm not going to make all your kachim tamei. Reb Zer says it's tamei. Reb Zer says tar. Reb Bila says tamei. Another thing in the list is that the kli as you finish it, you have to. As you finish the kli, you have to take it to the mikveh, right? Right here. Kli nigma b'tahara. This one. Says Gemara, the Gemrino Mao. Who finished it off? Eli the Gemrino chaver. That the person that's makbid, lamalut tefillah, you don't need to be toiveler. Ela the Gemrino amaretz. What happened was the amaretz finished it off, and that's why you have to bring it in the mikveh. Says the Gemara, the Gemara b'tahara karla, he's amaretz. If he's amaretz, it's automatically tamei. Don't tell me that it was finished off b'tahara. What happened? Very interesting story. A chaver finished it off and therefore it's tar. We're concerned about the spit of the amaretz. The spit of the amaretz is like the spit of a zav, and the spit of a zav is tamei d'oraisa. Says the Gemara, what do you mean you're concerned about the spit? The nafalemus, when did it happen? If it's before you finished, then it's not a kli. Not a kli doesn't become tuma. Ela basa the gamre. He finished the kli, and he's a chaver. He's a person that's very makbid. Mrs. Zarbo, he's not going to let a amaretz get close to it. Says Gemara, what happened was the spit hit it right before he finished it. So it's a very interesting case. He spit on it. It stays moist for a day or two. The chaver didn't realize. He finished the kli, and then retroactively it becomes tamei. Now, very, very important. What happens here? It says that when this happens, when you finish the kli, you have to bring it into the mikvah. Now, there's another step called Harav Shemesh. Do you need Harav Shemesh or not? Mamish, an unbelievable chart. All it says in the chart is that when a kli is finished, you don't have to, you need Harav Shemesh. In other words, it's red, it's something you must do. You must wait until the nighttime until you can use this kli. So I finished this kli. First, I have to put it in the mikvah. Then I have to wait 6 hours until shkia time, 8 o'clock in the evening. Then I can use it. Or no. It says mefurish, all you have to do is put in the mikvah. It doesn't mention anything about Harav Shemesh. Tefillah in, Harav Shemesh loy. Masnisim the loy Rebbe Eliezer. Now, just as a quick hakdama here, the tzdukim, they always cause trouble, and we always have to show the tzdukim that they're wrong. It says in the pasuk, V'hiza hatar ala tameh. The tzdukim learn this as next time you'll be okay with the Zoom and the videos, and then we could finish on time. V'hiza hatar ala tameh. He's giving me, he's doing all these noises now. V'hiza hatar ala tameh. The tzdukim say that a person has to be 100% tar. You have to go into the mikvah and you have to have Harav Shemesh. You have to wait until nighttime. We say no. Since this is Rashi, since the pasuk says right before that he's tar, who sprinkles the meichatos, the paraduma? A tar person. Remember the paradox. The tar person sprinkles it. he makes a tame person tar, and he that was tar becomes tame. But he has to be tar because it's in the pasuk tar. So if he's tar, then why is the pasuk tar? You test the following pasuk, say again that he's tar. Obviously, it's coming to say that he doesn't have to be 100% tar. He could be tar that he went to the mikvah. Erev Shemesh is not important. Okay. So in order to outdo the tzdukim, to show them every single day that they're wrong, what do? We learned in the first Amid of Yuma, we take the Kohen Gadol, we make him Tameh. And we don't let the night fall, and we say, he went to the mikvah and he's not even Erev Shemesh. He's not even nightfall, and he can perform whatever he performs. So it says like this. You take a reed, here. Take a reed, and I make it into a tube, and this is a container. They didn't have plastic in those days. Container. I fill this up with my chatas water, and I ship it around the world. FedEx. Now here's the machlokes. Everybody agrees that this has to go, that you must use this before, and any kli that's for paraduma has to be in the mikvah. The question is, how do I differentiate and how do I show the tzedukah that he's wrong? Rabbi Lezer Omer Yitbol Miyad. Take this kli, put it in the mikvah, and you don't have Erev Shemesh, and you're going to show the tzedukah that he's wrong. Rabbi Omer Yitama. You can't put this kli in the mikvah; it's not tummy yet. Touch it with a dead sheretz, and then put it in the mikvah. V'avina ba the chatoch haman. Who cut it? The same thing, the same sugya that we had now, word for word. If the person is makbid lamali tefillah, why do you have to put it in the mikvah? It's a chaver. Vel the chatoch hamaretz. According to Rabbi Yeshua, why does he have to touch a rat to it? Amaretz touch it. Amaretz touches it, it's tamei already. What happened was the chaver cut it and it's not tamei. Same thing like we said today. We're concerned about the spit of the amaretz. Says the Gemara, when did that happen? Beforehand, it's not a kli yet. After he cut it, the chaver is going to be careful with it. What happened was the spit hit it before it became a kli. So when it becomes a kli, it's still moist, and same thing like we said a second ago. Says the Gemara, okay, here's my right. According to Rabbi Yeshua, I have to be mitamet. I touch this reed, I take a sheretz, touch it, then put it in the mikvah. And I use it before night. Tzduki, you're wrong. Tzduki thinks I could only use it on Sunday, in the morning. I'm going to show you, I'm going to use it today before Shkia. This nan, mitam moyu es a kohen vas service apara. This is mamish. It's a mission in para, but we learned in the Yuma, the first daf in Yuma. I put the kohen, I make him, the kohen, sorry, not the kohen, the kohen that burns the paraduma, I make him tummy on purpose. The Zuki says, only the following day he becomes tar. Now, going back to this. There's only two options here. What does Rabbi Eliezer hold? A kli needs Erev Shemesh or does not need Erev Shemesh? In our mission, it seems like doesn't need Erev Shemesh. Well, that's a big problem. Because our Mishnah is not going to drive it. Rabbi Eliezer must hold the red. And our Mishnah holds the green. And that's the problem here. If it's like the red, that I need to be toivel a kli, and I have to take it to the mikvah, and only then I could use it. So now Rabbi Eliezer is saying, in this case, on paraduma, we're going to do something different, and it's going to be a shtach to the tzdukim. But in a typical kli, I never, after I finish it, I don't have to take it to the mikvah, I don't have to wait till nightfall. So what's the shtach to the tzduki? Nothing happened. Nothing is different today. Amarav, asuk et meisheret. What happened was, we took this, you're right. This shouldn't be tameh at all, but we made this kli, look at this, we made this as if a sheretz touched it. What happens, Rabbi, if a sheretz touches a kli? What tumah is it? Not everybody together. Oy vavoy. Rishon. Sure. Here's the sheretz. A sheretz is avatuma. It touched this reed. It became a rishon. Says the Gemara, look at this. A Rishon, what could a Rishon do? Only make this Tameh. It can make something a Sheni, but not a human being. Only a food. Ask the Gemara, it can't make, if it's a Rishon, it shouldn't make a person Tameh. But it says that you could, the person that cuts it and he puts it in the mikveh, he himself has to becomes Tameh from touching it. How does he become Tameh from touching it? It's only a Rishon. A Rishon can't make him Tameh. Why does he have to go to the mikveh? He becomes, this reed becomes something else. Doesn't become a Rishon, it becomes the Avatuma. He's on this level right over here. It's as if he touched a dead person. Somebody that touches a dead person can make another person Tameh. That works, yes. This reed is Tameh like a Avatuma, and Avatuma makes what? A Rishon. No sponsor today. Oh, but if you're telling me, we don't do sponsors when we're at 8:10. You're telling me that he's such a strong tumah of avatuma. What's the process of avatuma? Somebody's tumah avatuma has to go through the whole hazah of shlishi shvi, like we discussed before. So we'll stop over here. It's the middle of the sugya, but we have no choice. He's a tmei meis, but only all the way at the end of the process tmei meis. Very interesting chiddush. Have a wonderful Shabbos. 8:30 Motzi Shabbos. Sorry, Rabbi Isai.